What happens when someone makes a political claim they're absolutely confident about and then gets fact-checked live on air? Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In this clip, a MAGA commentator makes a bold claim about Russia, but instead of letting it slide, Charles Blow immediately steps in and challenges him. What happens next is a tense exchange that takes an unexpected turn. Let's watch.
Speaking to the Wall Street Journal, Trump says that he's encouraging Bill Pulte to slash a large number of jobs as part of a necessary shakeup in the intelligence community. Pulte's appointment is only temporary, but today, Trump suggested that his acting status might secretly be an asset. You're less scared, he said, but news of Pulte's appointment may already be causing a headache for the president. With just 1 week until a powerful surveillance law expires, early this morning, Democrats who are concerned about Pulte's appointment moved to block consideration of that bill. They were joined by 7 Republicans. It's already having an impact, and I'm not sure if this is really going to fly, and I think Trump knows it, honestly. I think he's aware. That's why he said today that he's interviewing 5 people or whatever for the job. I think he knows that this might not ever happen. By the way, the current DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, is still in her job until the end of the month.
And he knows that Bill Pulte has opposition within the Republican Party because he isn't qualified for the job by a long shot. But I think he wants him in there for a little while so he can pilfer the nation's secrets as Trump wants. Right? I mean, he's basically said that. He'll look into the election stuff. Just as Tulsi Gabbard showed up to, rifle through the ballot boxes of Fulton County, Georgia, he wants Bill Pulte to do something similar. And just as Bill Pulte did at the mortgage finance agency that he ran, he wants him to rifle through the confidential information of his political enemies to see if he can get anything on that. He'll take the stuff, give it to Trump, and go away.
I think the thing that makes me the most, elections have consequences. And when you are the president of the United States, you get to elect your senior officials, your cabinet. But in this instance, our enemies don't actually care about Democrats and Republicans. They care about destroying America. And this is this is the individual that every morning briefs the president on the security of this country. We need a qualified person. I don't like any of Donald Trump's cabinet secretaries, but that's his choice. And if they're not, like the HUD secretary is not actually putting our national security at risk. But this role, a lapse in judgment here while he's thinking about rigging the election and our enemies come after, I think at this moment, everyone as Americans need to say, Mr. President, take a beat and let's do what's best for this country.
So the reason I'm not surprised by this is Donald Trump's been talking about draining the swamp since he was elected in 2016. So I don't think that we should be surprised that he wants to fire the intelligence.
The U.S. intelligence community is the swamp of American life.
Russia. All of that came from
Russia.
Wait a second. Are you saying
the election? You don't believe that?
This has been debunked, Terry.
No, it is not true at all. You can laugh about it, but it still doesn't make it true. That's actually a lie. It was not debunked that Russia did not try to interfere with our election. That was never debunked. Can you just acknowledge that there has never been debunked? This was an effort
on the part of President Barack Obama to derail President Trump's first 2 years in his first 2 years.
That's another lie.
Yeah, I mean,
I think to the truth at the table.
Trump was coming into office, I think
you're conflating. Hold on a second, Rob. I think you're conflating 2 things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't actually necessarily agree with the thing that I think you're trying to say, but I'll explain what you're trying to say. The president believes that the part of the whole Russia idea that he was colluding with the Russians to meddle in the election was weaponization, right? He believes that. That's separate from saying that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, which is a fact that was corroborated by a bipartisan Senate committee and a report that was co-authored by Marco Rubio, who is Trump's current Secretary of State. So those are 2 separate issues. And on the fundamental issue of whether Russia was trying to interfere in the election of 2016, that is actually not in dispute. Whether Trump was collaborating with them, That's the part that I will give you.
Yes, that's my
in
point.
dispute.
And it was
So
You say that,
yeah.
don't lie about the rest of it, though. Don't tell us that Russia was that it was debunked that Russia was trying to interfere, which is exactly what you just said. So, do you want to roll that lie back, or do you want to keep going?
Roll that lie back. No, what I'd also like to point out that James Clapper. No, I acknowledge.
Oh, thank
what
you.
you're
I
saying.
appreciate it.
I
Thank you,
acknowledge
because
what you're saying.
that's what I'm trying to get. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Charles, it was the intelligence community. It was the intelligence community
Thank
that
you.
was trying to derail.
We're gonna be
President
buddies by the end of the evening because you're telling the truth.
But let's go back to what the DNI really is supposed to be, okay? Because the world did not begin in 2016
Right.
or in 2015 when all of this was happening. The DNI position was created after 9/11 to resolve one of the main causes of 9/11, which is the idea that the intelligence agencies were not sharing information, were not talking to each other, and we were caught flat-footed in the most devastating terror attack of many decades. So what is the real rationale for gutting that agency today by President Trump?
Well, so first let me say, I think Pulte is a bizarre and unqualified choice. I'm glad he's not at FHFA anymore, but alarmed to see that he's at DNI. But I think I actually am aligned with the mission, and it's sort of the Department of Redundancy department over at DNI. And Tom Cotton has actually introduced legislation that is trying to accomplish something similar. He made a comment that at DNI you have coordinators coordinating with coordinators who are coordinating, and it's become so bloated that it's not achieving the mission that it set out to be a nimble, lean agency that was at the very top overseeing the intelligence whole, juggernaut. So I think the bloat, the fact you have 2,000 people doing a job that probably 600 people could be doing, is actually problematic.
I actually think that's a fair
already
point.
cut it by half. So how much more they
But I
gonna
also
cut?
think that you also made an important point that Tom Cotton is a member of Congress. That's their job.
Yeah.
They created the agency. They outlined the qualifications for the person who ought to run it. They can streamline it if they feel like they need to, and they should. Why not do that as opposed to Trump? Trump seems to be saying, I want to do an end run around Congress.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
But we know that what happens is, I give credit to the Democrat administrations that have been in power, because what they do is they hire individuals for a lot of these government agencies, and then they burrow in. I mean, there's been study after study done that shows that the Democrats stick around and run these agencies even when a Republican president is in office. And I think that's what I was getting at with the frustration that Trump has with some of the political appointees who end up in these positions.
Every president has
We
five.
have to leave it there, unfortunately. Sorry,
Darn
guys.
it.
And with that, I'll leave it there. What stood out to me wasn't just the claim that was made, it was how quickly things changed once the facts entered the conversation. That's why fact-checking matters. Anyone can make a bold statement. The real test is whether it holds up when challenged. And in this case, Charles Blow wasn't letting anything slide. What do you think? Did he completely shut down the argument, or do you think the MAGA commentator had a point? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.